A, meeting opening. A1, call to order. A2, pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now observe a 30-second moment of silence. Thank you. Moving to A3, adoption of the agenda. Are there any consent agenda items that a board member would like to have discussed as an action item? None? Okay. Hearing none, do I have a motion that the governing board adopt the meeting agenda?
I move that we adopt the meeting agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Solorio. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Moving to B, presentation. B1, holiday music performance. Tonight's musical performance will be under the direction of Mr. Christopher Mentz. Performing will be students from Carol G. Peck School Choir. And also want to give a shout out to Mr. Mentz for getting married soon. So congratulations. All right, Mr. Mentz, take it away.
Everyone, thank you all for being here. We have worked so hard on these songs for the past 6 weeks to prepare for you guys. We are beyond thrilled to be here to sing for you guys. Without further ado, here are the voices of Simpson. I'm sorry, Carol G. Peck. I forgot what school I was at. I apologize. We're Carol G. Peck. Oh my God. Sorry.
He's nervous. He's nervous. Good evening, and thank you for being here for our choir concert. My name is Kaylin.
And my name is Jalea.
And we are the voices of Carol G. Peck. We have 3 songs to sing for you: Feliz Navidad, Winter Wonderland, and we have worked on Silent Night in 3 languages: English, Spanish, and German.
We hope you enjoy the performance. Again, thank you so much.
Our first song this evening is Feliz Navidad by Jose Feliciano. I hope you enjoy this high-energy start to tonight's concert.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart.
Our next song is going to be Winter Wonderland.
This song features us by echoing each other for some parts of the song and exploring different values at the end of some sections. Nuestra próxima canción esta noche es Winter Wonderland. Esta canción nos presenta haciéndonos eco en algunas partes de la canción y explorando diferentes volúmenes al final de algunas secciones.
And our silent song tonight is going to be Silent Night in 3 languages, English, German, and Spanish. Thank you very much.
Nuestra última canción de esta noche es Stille Nacht. Es una canción que se ha cantado en todo el mundo durante cientos de años, en muchos idiomas. Disfrute de la sensación de calidez que transmite esta canción mientras cantamos nuestra última canción. Gracias.
Silent
Thank you very much. We were the voices of Carol G. Peck.
Another round of applause for the voices of Carol G. Peck. And thank you so much to Mr. Christopher Metz. Round of applause for Christopher Metz. We will take a short 5-minute recess. So for our first public comment, we have Mr. Mark Islas.
Good evening, President Conchas, members of the board, Familia Alhambra. I appreciate you, Dr. Mayas, for allowing me to be here today and to show a sense of gratitude and appreciation for someone that I have worked with while I was part of the Alhambra Familia. And today I'd like to thank Kathleen O'Neill France for the time that we served together during my time here as one of the leaders at Alhambra. And I can honestly say that over my 30-year career, I've never met a person that felt her role and her responsibility to the community was as important as Kathleen felt. She was extremely professional with me during the time that I served this community. I learned a lot from her. She made me recognize and learn how important families and parents are to the education of their kids. She reminded me that the colleagues that I worked with were working very hard during the pandemic to literally save lives. And I know that during the evening, you'll have an opportunity to list all the accomplishments that Alhambra has had during her tenure on the governing board. And it is my honor to have served. It's my privilege to have worked for her. And it is my sincere appreciation for everything she did for me as a person, as a leader, and how she supported the beautiful kids in this district. So President Conchas, Dr. Mayas, thank you again for allowing me to be here. And Kathleen, I'll never forget the time we spent together doing great things for everybody here. Thank you.
Now we will invite up Ms. Karen Stengel. She might be outside. We'll put her, okay? Unless that's her, nope. All right, we'll invite up Mr. Gabriel Gambino? Camino?
President Conchas, governing board members, Superintendent Dr. Mayas. Board service is one of the toughest volunteer roles of all, and Miss O'Neill France performed it with care, dedication, and tenacity. You never flinched in the face of a difficult decision, and you helped guide our district during some very difficult times, including a global pandemic. Thanks to your support, our district has reached many milestones, and we're on the path to accomplish many more. Your leadership will be missed, but know that our district and our community are better now, thanks to your service. It was a great pleasure to work with you, and I thank you for your hard work and great job that you have done as an Alhambra governing board member. Thank you.
Now we will invite up Mr. Ruben Montoya.
Good evening, President Conchas, board members, and Dr. Mayas. Kathleen, I just want to say it's been a pleasure working and learning alongside you. I'll miss our technology conversations, being a partner with you at the admin retreats, and yeah, I see you laugh about that. Many of you don't know the first admin retreat, she was placed at our table, and she was like, why am I with this table? But we had such a good time, and we talked a lot of tech stuff and outside of that area. The next year, she wasn't at our table. But I do think he's told me, make sure I sit with you guys. So I made sure I got there early and I'd move her table tent to sit with us from there on out. So I just want to share, it's been a pleasure and thank you so much and wish you all the best.
Now we will invite up Mr. Raul Ruiz.
Good evening, President Conchas, governing board members, Dr. Mayas, Assistant Superintendents, Alhambra, family. Kathleen, I want to thank you personally for your service to our district. I also want to thank you sincerely and personally for allowing me to feel comfortable. I've worked in districts where governing board members kind of keep a distance from leaders, and it's just a different feeling here. And I thank you sincerely for reminding me regularly that you like my brother more than me, and for just being a part of the family. In fact, Ruben alluded to the leadership retreats, and my favorite of all was when you showed up with your mom at the retreat and we were able to spend time together. And you know, just it really spoke to your character. It spoke to who you are, and you shared that little bit of family with us as well, and we thank you sincerely. And so you will always be part of our family, and we thank you for your service and for your commitment to the many wonderful things that have taken place while you've been here at Alhambra. Sincerely. Good night.
I might love your brother more, but he's not here.
You remember that. You remember that.
If Paul's on WebEx, hi. Next up, we will invite Mr. Matt Shields.
I got a lot of tough acts to follow here. President Conchas, members of the governing board, Superintendent Maes, I wanted to take this opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude to governing board member Kathleen O'Neill France for her years of service on the governing board. You've been instrumental in growing my career and affording me the opportunity to work here in Alhambra 6 years ago. 6 years ago now, when I started with the district in a different capacity. It has truly been a great experience working with you, beside you, and truly know that it's all about the students and the community that we serve in the district and your passion as an educator. Again, thank you.
Now we will invite up Ms. Karen Stengel.
President Conchas, members of the board, and Dr. Maes, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight on a topic that is near and dear to the hearts of many within this room and across this district. I've worked alongside Kathleen O'Neill France for more years than I can count, and it's through her hard work, her passion for education, and her commitment to children that have made the opportunities within this district possible. Her vision and support have afforded our students and staff with guidance, resources, and programs that enhance their school experience each and every day. We thank you for your many years of service in the Alhambra Elementary School District. It's through your drive and unwavering commitment to our kids and community that remind us daily how much a difference you've made to all of us.
Before we go to our last two public comments, Ms. O'Neill France, would you like to respond? If you don't need to. No, I will. Okay, sounds good. We're going to go to Alondra Ruiz.
Good evening, Lupe Conchas President and board members. My name is Alondra Ruiz. I live at Periwinkle Mobile Home Park. We are currently being displaced by Grand Canyon University. We wanted to reach out to all of you because we have a lot of kids that go to school in the Alhambra School District. And it was so joyful, by the way, to hear these kids. But then I couldn't stop thinking about the kids in my community who are about to be homeless. We were supposed to be out October 30th originally, and we were very thankful for people that have been standing with us, and we got an extension for February 28th, and then it made no sense to me and to our community that it was in the middle of the school year when kids had just returned back from school. So with the help of Raquel Teran, Senator Raquel Teran, we were able to extend it to May 28th. At this time, we've been looking for homes, my neighbors and I, and it's just, we're in a housing crisis right now. We can't find any. It is so heartbreaking to us that Grand Canyon University, who speaks of being for the community, is pushing out the community. I remember I lived in this neighborhood for 9 years, and I remember how full of people and homes and apartments there were around me, and it's everybody's out and gone. We're part of the last people left. We were actually hoping that we were not going to be displaced. We only got a 6-month notice to leave, and we all own our mobile homes. None of us rent there. A few tenants do rent, but the majority of us, we own our homes. So it's very heartbreaking. We don't know what we're gonna do. So we just wanted to bring awareness that a lot of the kids that go to Alhambra School District will be homeless and they will be displaced. And we're asking for your support. We're asking if you can give us an open letter possibly that we can give to GCU or to the city council, which we've been also going there asking for help because we don't know what else to do. So I just want to thank you all for listening to this. It's really unfortunate that we're going through this because we had faith and we believed in Grand Canyon University. They claim to be a Christian university, and there's not been anything Christian about what they're doing to us. They haven't even came to see us, not one time, anybody from GCU, when we requested that they come meet with us, and there's not one soul that has came to see who our families are. We are humans, we are people. We are a great part of the community. We are all hardworking people, and nobody has came to meet with us at all. So it's very devastating to us. It's really heartbreaking, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Alondra. Gracia Beltrán, you have 3 minutes.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas
Mi
tardes.
nombre es Gracia Beltrán. También vengo de Periwinkle. A la universidad nos está desalojando, nos está pidiendo nuestras trailas. Tengo un niño de 8 años que cursó Gestar, ahí 2 años. La pandemia pues duró, el kinder lo hizo en casa y ahorita ya está en 2º grado. Nos está agarrando la universidad en una situación muy difícil para movernos. Ustedes saben que ahí en las trailas es económico lo que pagamos. Ahorita para movernos la situación es sumamente difícil. La universidad prácticamente no nos está ayudando nada, nada. Necesitamos un poco más de apoyo. Somos muchas familias, son muchos niños que viven ahí. Hay mucho estrés, mucho. Los niños ven una máquina y ya dicen, mami, va a tirar mi casa. ¿Sí? Un poquito más de apoyo, un poquito más de sensibilidad por parte de la universidad. Chequen, investiguen, no nos está dando nada. Entiendo perfectamente, es su terreno, es su propiedad, pero es una situación terrible ahorita en Phoenix en cuestión de vivienda. Para podernos mudar, rentar una casa que no hay, necesitamos $5,000 hasta $7,000, que las familias no contamos con eso. Madres solteras, viven ancianos ahí. No nos proporcionan nada de ayuda. Es mínima. Según ellos, nos hablan por parte de una compañía que contrataron Trellis, que nos va a ayudar bastante. Es nada. Ellos la primera vez que nos fueron a hablar, prácticamente ahí nos humillaron. Nos querían sacar por $1,800. Mi traila me costó $4,700. Fui a preguntar mi misma traila, que es 1973. Es mi casa. Me cuesta $40,000. No tengo $40,000. Cuando me costó $4,700. Y como es 1973, no la puedo mover. ¿Sí? Entonces, un poquito más de sensibilidad por parte de la universidad, un poquito más de apoyo, y ojalá Lupe pueda hablar un poquito por nosotros. Sí, muchas gracias y muy amables.
Muchas gracias. Gabriel, could you translate a little bit?
President Conchas, Governing Board members, Superintendent Mayes, the concerned committee member was here to express her concern of her displacement and her neighbors' displacement from the property of GCU, and so they're here to request some support from the district to advocate for the families that they say are there. She says that right now, due to the housing market, it is unrealistic for the university to expect them to vacate their property as quick as they want them to. She made the reference of her property when she bought it being in the ballpark of $4,500. Something comparable now would be $40,000, and so she's asking for the support from the district to advocate for them with the university. They did mention that they have requested members of the university to visit them, and that hasn't been done yet.
Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you for everyone who has given public comment. We'll move to B2, update on affordable housing. Mr. Huseman?
Thank you, President Conches, members of the board, Dr. Mayes. I'm reluctantly being joined, it seems, by Matt Shields from Business Services. I'm Scott Huseman, as you know, from Business Services, and Angela Conklin from Federal Projects. We're here tonight. We had the opportunity to serve with several members of the district and also folks from outside of the district on an affordable housing committee, and we're here to tell you about our work in that committee and share our progress with you.
Good evening. Okay, thank you. So Alhambra School District was honored through Vitalist with a grant.
The mic. There you go.
With a grant to support looking at the possibility of using some of our vacant land or unused current land to build affordable housing. And so the school district, along with some outside agencies, formed a committee. The members are listed on your slide there, and throughout approximately since July, we have been meeting and working collaboratively to see if it would be possible to build affordable housing in the Alhambra School District, and looking at what property we might be able to use to have affordable housing. We have built a proof of concept for the property right outside of our district office along Grand, and we're going to see some possibilities of what that would look like. It is a long-term project, and we're just bringing the proof of concept that we think that with a lot of hard work, it's something, if the governing board would like to go in that direction, that we could actually accomplish. In addition to that, the committee also looked at were there any other land potentially throughout the district outside of this area that might be used for the same purpose.
Good evening. As you can see here on this slide that's currently presented before you, it's basically a depiction, courtesy of Christian Solorio, providing that as part of the committee work. By the way, it has been an honor and a privilege to be a part of the committee, and I've enjoyed partaking in the meetings that we've had and participating in that. But back to the detail here. This is a conceptual proof of concept that was put together by Christian Solorio with some project ideas of using that potential land to include up to 300 units of family affordable housing on that parcel along Grand Avenue. The estimated cost of that, a scale of this size, would be roughly about $375,000 per unit, with the original idea, or discussion rather, of trying to get 100 units off the ground first, in like a first phase, if you will. And part of this committee work and discussion that we've done, we did have consideration of the current transportation use of the property, because the property parcel abuts Grand Avenue, and obviously we all know that Grand Avenue is a highly traveled roadway, so that was part of the discussion as well. So in the visual there you have on the right-hand side, that's some examples of the different units and the different areas that the units could be located in that space. I do want to point out in the center there, kind of down towards the bottom there, you guys might be able to see it on your screens up there, but that little square box in the center there is the old gymnasium, and the discussion around that was to try to repurpose that into a community center type thing and keep that as part of the overall project. And then now it's, without further ado, I get to present some pictures. Obviously, I'm a very visual person, so sometimes it's awesome to see some different pictures. These, again, are courtesy of Mr. Solorio. These are some examples of some affordable housing projects that have happened and transpired as far as conceptual drawings are concerned. So we wanted to share some different ideas. These are just, part of the proof of concept, some different ideas with regard to this type of project.
Okay, and so it was great to work on the committee. Part of the committee work was that we worked with legal counsel from Gus Rosenfeld, and as you can see by looking at the pictures, it was great to have Mr. Solorio as part of our committee. If you don't know, in his real job, he's an affordable housing architect, so his expertise was much needed on the committee, and he helped guide us along. But we did engage legal counsel because there was a question is, can the district itself use our own funds or use bond funds to build affordable housing? The answer to that question is no. The district can't use our own funds to build affordable housing. There is something called teacherage, that rural districts can build teacher buildings and teacher housing for, if they're out in rural, Native American reservations, things of this nature, but we don't, we're an urban district, we do not qualify for that. So there are state and federal grants, however, that could cover the total cost of the initial phase estimate of 100 units is about over $35 million. The great news is there are federal government and state government grants that Mr. Solorio has worked with and nonprofits have worked with in the past that can garner 40 to 90% of the cost of affordable housing, which then makes it affordable for the folks that are living in those housing units. Jim Giel, our attorney, advised us that we could sell the district if they chose, if the board chose to. We could sell land to a nonprofit organization and put stipulations in the sale of that they would build affordable housing. We could also possibly put in that sales contract that we would have a preference that they have some of the affordable housing for families, of course, that would need housing in our community, but also possibly staff members of the Alhambra district that might need affordable housing. A sale of that nature, because it would be to a nonprofit and not a city or a government institution, it would need the majority vote of the community or the residents in our district. So the board would have to adopt a resolution to sell property, specific property across the district, and then that would come up at the next general election in November of 23 or November of 24, and the voters would decide whether or not to support that. So what are the next steps? Next steps would be we are going to present our proof of concept committee findings to the Vitalist Foundation. We are consulting with the City of Phoenix, and Mr. Solorio set up a meeting that we had recently, I think it was last week or the week before, with the zoning folks to talk about rezoning that parcel out here along Grand, because it would need rezoned to handle the density of the affordable housing that we're proposing beyond that land. So if interested, the district could consider whether or not to ask voters, as I had mentioned, for approval to sell various parcels that are underutilized or unutilized across the district. And you could also continue to seek legal counsel, of course, on that process or what other options there may be for affordable housing. So at this time, we'd just like to open it up to any questions you might have for us or Mr. Solorio or anyone else on the committee. Dr. Maya, Ms. Milieu? Would you like to say anything, Mr. Solorio?
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to work on this. It's an idea that that came up with Mr. Adam Lopez Falk during his tenure here, and we first pitched the idea to Mr. Islas, and I'm bummed he left. He basically said, it sounds great, but come back to me when you have some money. By the time I found some money, he was gone. So thankfully, I came across the opportunity with the Vitalist Health Foundation in partnership with the Halle Foundation to have this proof of concept be developed to take a look at what we could do with our land. Something I always said was that that piece of dirt has been a piece of dirt since I was a student here 20 20 years ago, and it will be a piece of dirt for the next 20 years. So why not turn it into something that helps our community? It's very timely when we're talking about the housing crisis and how it's affecting our community members in a very real and visceral way. For us to be tackling this issue with the assets that we have and understanding our community's needs outside of the classroom and the need for stability and a place to call home in order to learn and to thrive. So I really want to thank Dr. Maez for being so open-minded and diving into this very new world for school districts. And it's been a pleasure to work with everyone on the committee and my former teacher, Angela Conklin, as well.
Learn something new every night. All right.
Any other questions or comments?
And I just want to say, I know how busy everyone is, and so I appreciate that you all have joined us. And I agree with Christian. It's been a pleasure to learn more about this. And I think about our community members that spoke this evening, and these are stories I get to hear every day, and not only from community members as I get to know various parents and families, but also even our staff members that even some of our teachers have shared how hard it is. They want to live in the community, and it's getting really expensive. And so. So we know, as you pointed out, Mr. Solorio, that piece of land is sitting there. Let's put it to good use to meet the needs of our community. So I look forward to continuing. And earlier we presented together, and one of our partners, Steve, was sharing how the two big important things, land and patience. And we've got the land, and not only do we have the patience, but we're persistent. And so I'm looking forward to seeing this through. So thank you all.
Thank you for saying persistence, because that was exactly the word I was thinking. We do not give up, and this is certainly a cause that we need to be behind and push forward. If rural districts can do it, then urban districts should be able to do it. So there's kind of two prongs here. I think we need to bombard our legislators as well. We can't get some laws changed so that we can have affordable housing and we don't have to give up the property to do that. I've seen magical things happen in this district, and I think this will be another one of those things, and we will get it done.
One question that I have is, I know we're not nearly to the point of discussing selling. Is there also an option to lease the land? Because I was speaking with Isaac, Superintendent, and Governing Board President Jimenez last night, and they said that they're going to be leasing their land. Is that an option?
It is an option, and I think it is definitely something we discussed as a committee. It's a little, Steve from the Senior Living, Foundation for Senior Living, was saying it's not as advantageous for a nonprofit to come in if they know that they're only leasing the land and they've got to give it back to you. So, but it's an option that definitely the board could explore, yes.
And to add, just a key thing to note is if we sell the land, the proceeds, we can use that for other capital improvement within the district. So when we're talking about getting rid of and upgrading some of our classroom spaces and things like that, it's a win-win, regardless of going with a 99-year lease term or a sale.
The voters would have to be engaged in either action, and it is a considerably semi-valuable piece of land. It's several $1 million probably as an estimate.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you so much to the entire committee. We really appreciate it. Round of applause for the committee. All right, we're moving to C, information item. C1, financial report. The financial report is available for governing board members in your packet. Moving to E, consent agenda. E1, approval of consent agenda items. I call for a motion that the governing board approve consent agenda items E1 through E11.
I move that we approve the consent agenda items E2 through E11.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving to F, Human Resources. F1, Support Staff Minimum Wage Increases. Under Arizona's mandated minimum wage increase effective January 1st, 2023, the administration recommends that the governing board approve the submitted revised 2022-2023 support staff and Head Start salary schedules. The support staff and Head Start salary schedules also include a 1% increase to steps and levels not affected by the minimum wage increase. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the submitted revised 2022-2023 support staff and Head Start salary schedules.
I move that we, my mind just went blank. I move that we adopt the new salary schedules for our staff minimum wages increases for the Head Start and support staff.
Thank you, Mr. Ocampo. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Discussion?
This is such a minimal increase. I wish we could do more. Our support staff works so hard and they do jobs that many people would not want to do. I understand that we are giving them what we are required to raise our salaries at this time. I am hopeful that someday we'll have enough money to make it even a more competitive wage. Thanks to all of them that do these jobs.
Any other discussion? Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify that in the past, we've only increased those wages that were required by law. And so I wanted to clarify that this time, and the feedback we've received from our valued classified staff has been that when they're then making the same as new employees, that it stings a little, it makes them feel not as valued. And so we did consider lots of different options just because, as you mentioned, Ms. Del Campo, we value our classified staff. And so it was risky even just proposing what we are proposing, but I'm thankful that our team really considered lots of options. And so with this proposal here, we are actually giving everybody a little bit of a raise, which some people already are well above minimum wage and it wasn't required. But that way, everybody got a little bit and we increased the minimum wage.
Thank you for that explanation. I forgot to comment on that. Also, the other comment I forgot is that so many of the people that work in these positions are members of our community. So we are supporting the people who reside in our school district when we raise these salaries. Thanks to the committee that came up with this. I appreciate the support.
My comment is thank yous to the superintendent and to HR, to budgeting office, to Ms. Billiou, everybody who got together and put this on the agenda for us. Typically I would say that 1% is not enough, but we have to understand that ESSER funding is going to be expiring soon, and so we're going to have to take a good look at our budget. And so I appreciate the work that people are doing in order to ensure that everyone feels like they matter. Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Moving to G, governing board policy. Board policies. Going to G1, I call for a motion that the governing board approve the temporary suspension of governing board policy BGB.
I move that we approve the suspending the policy BGB.
Can you say temporary?
Temporarily.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Solorio. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Moving to G2, first reading and adoption of policy GDM, support staff career development opportunities. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the first reading and adoption of policy GDM, support staff career development opportunities.
I move that we support the first reading and adoption of policy GDM, support staff career development opportunities.
Thank you, Ms. De Ocampo. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Discussion?
Again, we've been a long time waiting for this. We always look at staff development for other groups, other employee groups. Here we are, once again, going out and providing opportunities for our support staff that many districts do not provide. Here again, we're providing opportunities for our support staff that are not provided in other districts. I applaud our support. I applaud the group that came up with doing this, and I know our support staff is going to take advantage of this. It is a way for them to advance themselves and to increase their knowledge. It is definitely the right thing to do.
Any other discussion? I'll just say that it always hurts my heart when some of our staff leave for other opportunities. This is just something great where I hope that we're able to uplift folks and to develop their leadership and that they stay with Alhambra forever. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving to G3, first reading and adoption of policy DIA accounting system. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the first reading and adoption of policy DIA accounting system.
I move that we approve the first reading and adoption of policy DIA accounting system.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Solorio. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving to G4, first reading and adoption of policy KB, parental involvement in education. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the first reading and adoption of policy KB, parental involvement in education.
I move that we approve the first reading and adoption of policy KB, parental involvement in education.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Ms. De Ocampo. Any discussion?
Not just specific to this policy, but I believe parents would be surprised in how much rights they have in the law. And a lot of parents, they leave because they feel like their voices don't matter or they don't have any power. In fact, I was in a parent meeting just earlier where that sentiment was given. And I had to tell them, you don't have to join a governing board in order to have power as a parent. There is actually a lot of power that parents have, and I would encourage all parents to utilize that because we do want to hear from them.
Any other discussion? I want to reiterate that sentiment that Mr. Oropesa just stated. I know that when I talk to parents in our district, one of the biggest things that they're concerned about is bullying. A lot of the parents that I talk to, they've either moved their students from one school to another, or they've moved their students from outside of our district to inside our district because bullying is something that their student has been experiencing. So I support parents, and having 2 8th graders, even though I'm not a parent, is very important. And so yes, thank you, Mr. Oropesa, for those comments. Hearing no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving to G5, first reading and adoption of policy KI, visitors to schools. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the first reading and adoption of policy KI, visitors to schools.
I move that the governing board approve the first reading and adoption of policy KI, visitors to schools.
Thank you, Mr. Solorio. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving to G6, first reading and adoption of policy JRR, student surveys. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the first reading and adoption of policy JRR, student surveys.
I move that we approve the first reading and adoption of policy JRR, student surveys.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. De Ocampo. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. G7 is revisions to regulations, and it's information only. Moving to H, new business. H1 Amarok proposal. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the agreement with Amarok for a period lasting for 36 months at a cost not to exceed $300,000.
I move that we accept the proposal from Amarok for no more than a 3-year, 36 months, and I don't remember how much you said.
Not to cost more
than 300,000. Not to cost more than 300,000.
Thank you, Mr. Ocampo. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Discussion?
Yes. I'm a little bit concerned because legal counsel recommends against it or doesn't support the decision to put this up. But when I was told about the cost of how much damage we've had to our equipment at the site, we can't keep doing that. And it's not so much the cost of the equipment that the catalytic converter is stolen or the windows are broken. It's the disruption that that puts on our families when our buses can't operate. Yes, because our buses can't operate. I think there's two things here. There's the expense of the fixing it, and then there's the thought that sooner or later your premiums are going to go up. And then there's the one that's even more important to me is the disruption that this sets for our families who depend on our buses to get their children to school and our teachers that depend on those children to be in their classrooms every day. I understand that there could be some liability concerns. I drove by the waste management facility on Camelback where they have the fence. They have big, huge signs posted. Hopefully anybody that would be coming close by there would be able to read the sign and know better than to touch the fence when they have a sign that says don't touch it. I think that the committee that has researched this has put a lot of thought and effort into it. I think they've looked at all the pros and cons. I think it is time we do something to not only protect the equipment that we have at that site, but also the staff that works at that site. Our bus drivers come to work in the dark of night. I guess it's the dark of early morning. And they never know who they're going to find on the property. This hopefully will make them feel safer about coming to work at those hours. I thank the Transportation Department for reaching out to me and helping me understand all the research that they had done in coming up with this proposal.
We have Vanessa and Vanessa, could you please come up? And the gentleman from Amarok. Hi, how are you?
Okay, I'm doing well, President Conchas.
Could you please go through the process of putting this to the board, of how you got here?
How far back do you want me to go?
You could start with the
Okay.
catalytic converters.
Okay. So I have been with the district for 5 years, and this has been a perpetual challenge for us. And so the most recent event was in August of this school year, where 12 catalytic converters were stolen, which impacted our buses, so our bus routes, as well as maintenance and grounds and child nutrition vehicles. And so that sparked my desire to find a sustainable, effective solution that would keep our fleet force in place, which allows us to serve the community members, the students and the community members. And so I sought out our current provider, which is Amerix, and they were not able to offer us any other solutions. I also sought out the trust. They said that we are doing everything that they recommend. We're also doing something that they don't recommend, which is barbed wire. So none of the solutions that are recommended or not recommended have been adequate to prevent the criminal theft and the transients from coming onto our property. And so one morning in my inbox, there was an email from Amarok, and it was talking about the electric guard dog fence. And I was like, well, let me just explore this, because all the other solutions, they haven't worked. And so in exploring that email, I was connected with Mark Pollock, and we have had conversations about this for 5 months, and that has led us to where we are today.
Thank you. And what is your name, sir?
So thank you. My name is Mark Palick. Thank you for inviting me, President Conches, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Maez, and the Alhambra community. I'm representing Amarok today, but I'm the local Arizona and New Mexico sales representative.
Thank you. It's Mark, correct?
Yes, correct.
Could you talk to us about the liability that Amarok is providing?
Yes, absolutely. So when it comes to liability, we actually take on the liability for with a certificate of insurance, where the system is essentially leased. We own the system the entire time you're purchasing Amarok's service. So the electric fence falls under our certificate of insurance, where we're covered $11 million per claim, and we add Alhambra as the onto our umbrella for our certificate of insurance, so as an extra insuree. But when it comes to safety, we are abiding by all the legal regulations that are required in order to power an electrified fence.
And how long has Amarok been providing this service?
Since 1970.
And how many claims against Amarok have been brought to concerning this type of fence?
0.
And the last question is, will this be an external fence or an internal fence? Maybe it's a question for Vanessa.
I could answer that if you'd like. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. So yes, this is a fence that goes on the inside of an existing perimeter. Again, us abiding by the state regulations and by the state law that allows businesses and corporations to have an electric fence for security. We build it on the inside of a perimeter, so we're always protecting the public with the existing barrier, whether it be chain link, wrought iron, concrete wall. So we abide by all those regulations to make sure no one's even walking a dog, walking by just as a bystander. They will not come in contact with our system.
And if the board does agree to this this service, what does the installation timeline look like?
The turnaround time from the execution of the actual agreement to the first date of install is about a 3-week turnaround time, and we're anticipating that this is a process that you'd like to proceed on, so we have the proper teams in place to go ahead and begin.
Any other discussion or questions?
Can you tell me other school districts or other school facilities that have used your guard dog fence?
This would be our first school district nationwide.
Oh, nationwide. Oh,
Yes.
okay. Well, from my perspective, it looks better than the barbed wire.
Thank
So
you.
I
Appreciate that.
Any other discussion or questions?
Yeah, just a quick question. Will we be removing the barbed wire after the installation of the system?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Well, thank you so much. And I just want to reiterate to the public that all these questions that I asked today in this public forum, I've already asked them. And I've been annoying to Dana, to Ms. Bilyeu, to the lawyers, and make sure that this was vetted before we brought it to the board. So thank you so much for all the hard work that you've been doing, and especially to you, Vanessa, for all the hard work that you do every single day to ensure that our transportation department is running smoothly. We really appreciate you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving to H2, resolution authorizing the district to sell property. I call for a motion that the governing board consider and if deemed appropriate, adopt a resolution authorizing the district to sell to the city of Glendale pursuant to ARS, Arizona Revised Statutes 15-342, Section 7, certain real property currently owned by the district and commonly known as Maricopa County Assessor's Parcel Number 14501-013L at a price not less than that established by the appraisal of said property that is currently being obtained on behalf of the district. It's a mouthful, so can I have a motion for that?
Do I have to motion all of that?
You can say so moved.
Okay. So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Solorio. Discussion.
I'm sorry. In our previous discussions on this, I believe we were discussing leasing. This motion is to sell. I actually would prefer to sell, so I'm actually glad that it's landed on this. And so that's I suppose that's my thoughts on it. I'd much rather sell than lease. I'm glad that this motion's here.
Mr. Oropesa, which piece of property are you referring to?
Drainage property.
Yes, this is the drainage property.
Yeah, right. And so this is so in our previous discussions on this, it was kind of leaning toward. I believe that we had a Glendale city representative that was kind of leaning toward leasing. It seemed like that. And I just assumed they didn't have the money to buy. But so that said, I'm glad that this is a bit more permanent. Yeah.
Thank you.
When we had the discussion with the person from the city of Glendale, they had indicated that they were going to maintain the property so it wouldn't become an eyesore. They were going to put up walls because there's houses that are right there behind it. And I wouldn't want it to become something that was detracting to their property as well. We just need to make sure that they stand by that, I guess.
Yeah, I'm looking at the approximate appraised value of $500,000. Just as this move forward, I'd be curious of how the district reinvests those funds to support our capital improvements.
And a question I have for Superintendent's team, Ms. Billy or Mr. Hughesman, is which account, if this was to be approved and we were to sell the land, which account would the potential monies go to?
Thank you, President Conchas, members of the board, and Dr. Mayes. The fund is called a school plant fund, which is Fund 500, and it can be used for capital type projects.
Thank you. And just a vision is, creating more green space would be great, to have more trees, to have plants that don't take up too much water would be nice there, especially since it's a flooding zone. And then it's also important that we ask the city of Glendale in our conversations through this, that they talk to the residents that are going to be affected by construction, because those are our constituents and we want to make sure that their voices are heard. Hearing no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving to I, comments and communications. I1, comments from governing board members. It's rare, but I'll go first. I just want to say thank you to all of our staff, all of our teachers, all of our classified staff, to our principals. I recently helped out and volunteered with the food distribution program that we had on December 6th, I believe. And just want to say thank you to everybody who was out there. It was a really good time. I also went to GAP's Winter Festival today. It was a lot of fun. I got myself a Gap polo, so I'm supporting them today. I've been doing a collection of t-shirts, so I have one from James Rice. I have one from Madrid. I went and talked to Adrian today, principal Adrian today over at Westwood, and she is ordering me one as well. And so my vision is that we will also get a shirt for the board members that have all the school logos on the back. So just want to say thank you to everyone who is doing the work that needs to be done to keep our kids safe. And I just want to also say thank you to our fellow governing board members, Mr. Lopeza, Ms. De Ocampo, Mr. Solorio, to Dana for all the work that she does, to our superintendents, and to Ms. O'Neill France. Just want to say thank you for being a friend, a mentor, a role model, a leader. Those times when I would call you and we would just pray together or we would cry together. I really appreciate those moments and appreciate those moments talking to voters and listening to their concerns. You are a force to be reckoned with, and I just want to say I love you and God bless. Any other comments?
Happy holidays. You're about to have a long break. Take advantage of it. Enjoy time with your family. Don't think about school too much. I know you will, because I always did. I know how that is. Enjoy. Take time for yourself and your family. We are thankful that you are with us, and we look forward to you returning refreshed in January and ready to start on new projects.
I'll take the opportunity to talk to Ms. Kathleen O'Neill France. You've been, and now's the time, right? You've been incredible in your leadership of the board. You have greatly influenced me, not directly, indirectly, influenced me, and will continue to do so. But you've been absolutely a blessing to me as a new governing board member. I very much appreciate you and will continue to.
Thank you. Yeah, and on that note, Kathleen, I remember the first time I met you. It was at the Starbucks in our district, and it might have been a casual conversation for you, but for me it was a 30-minute grilling on whether I'm worthy or not to run for this position and serve along your side. And one of the first things that came up was, and that was really apparent the first time I met you, was your sheer dedication to our teachers and our educators. And through your service here on the board, I think that's come through as one of your top priorities, always advocating for them, whether it's schedule changes, pay schedule revisions, and all of the million other fights that we have to do in order to advocate for our teachers. You were relentless in that aspect, and I'm going to miss having your opinion, and I'm sure we'll be leading on your advice as you transition out, and so this district can continue to advocate for our teachers the way that we have these past 8 years with you here. So again, thank you so much for the service and the perspective that you've brought to this board. Your footprint here will be long-lasting, and just greatly appreciative for the service that you've put in for this community.
Kathleen, I understood the request that you preferred that we did not make speeches. So I am just going to say thank you very much. I've appreciated your friendship, and I will see you around Herd School, I am sure.
Been there yet. All right, so I requested that I get to speak last. First and foremost, I want to say it's interesting listening to you all when you talk about dedication and dedication to teachers, dedication to the students, not just teachers, sorry, the staff, because it's true. I don't pat myself on the back and I don't give myself kudos, but I'm gonna give myself that one. Yes. Today, I got so angry at somebody, an adult at my school, that I texted a couple people and said I'm ready to leave. The next 3 days look really good too for some days off. And then I realized why I was there. Didn't have anything to do with that person. It had to do with my fellow staff members and those kids. That is the reason. And that's the reason I show up there every day. That's the reason I showed up here for 8 years on your Thursdays, because you need an advocate that is in the schools. I'm concerned that you don't have that anymore. But the good news is I'm not moving. I'm still a taxpayer here. And I hope to God you all have my number, because I do expect to hear from you. I am always going to be on your side, always. So you ready? You ready for my big speech? Hold on, I know you guys are excited. Okay. First of all, I'm so sorry, Raul. I had to get that one in. I wrote that one down so I wouldn't forget. Ruben, I better get invited to the next table. I'm expecting that invite. Alhambra, you're in my heart. When I always knew I loved you. I always knew that you were a part of my family, and I think I might have mentioned this before you. That's just how I am. Once I meet people, they become my people. And so I didn't realize, and Raul, you said it, I didn't realize that I was part of yours. I always knew you belonged to me. I didn't know I belonged to you. So when I realized that, it really made me feel good, because it wasn't just a one-way street. Not that I really thought it was, but it just made our relationship even deeper. I hope you know truly how much you mean to me. Everybody, every single one of you. I want to remind you, and somebody said this, and I can't remember who it was, you do have a voice. You have a voice. You are allowed to talk to board members. You are allowed. Use your voice. Please use your voice. Because I come from an area that I can't use my voice, because if I use my voice, I get retaliated against. So please use your voice, because I know you don't get retaliation here. And if you do, call me, because then I'll take care of that. All right. I want to thank each and every one of you. I'm going to thank some people, but I'm not going to be remembering everybody. So please don't think that I'm not remembering you. I'll remember you when I leave, and then I'll text you. But seriously, thank you to all of you. You guys have really been helpful to me. You have helped me with questions that I've had that don't even relate to Alhambra. I thank all of you who I reached out to with questions. There you are, Claire. About just things that I needed to understand a little bit better. Crystal, if I need any help at home with my computer, I will call you. I want to thank Dr. Myers, Mark, and Dr. Williams, who I started with. They were my supers. You learned from each and every one of them. Mandy, thanks for geeking out at me. With me, I mean, not at me. With me at our fun educational conferences that we had. Scott, where are you? You keep a tight fist on that money, Scott. They're going to try and get it. Doesn't mean they all need it, right? Call me if you need any help. I'm serious, Scott. You do an amazing job. I know that you treat the money like it's your own. And that's important, because you don't want to let it go anywhere where it shouldn't go. So I really appreciate you. And please continue to ask those questions. It's not easy, but continue to ask them. So I want to say why I ran a million years ago. It had to do with a bus, sort of, which everybody knows how I love buses. So it was a bus stop, and I had an issue. My neighbors were complaining because the bus stop was getting littered by the students. So it was Montebello, and I had called, and I had left. Well, I just wanted to leave a message, and I was just like, I can talk to anybody. And what really impressed me was that the principal was going to talk to me. I said, she doesn't have to talk to me. I know they're busy. Nope, the principal is going to talk to you. So I talked to the principal. We talked, and then that was Nicole Durazo. And that just led to the idea of, I wanted to help my community. I wanted to get more involved in my community. I'm my HOA president. I just felt like I needed to do more for my area. And then it just kind of made sense to go schools because I'm in education, so the board kind of just made sense. A few things I do want to say that I am eternally grateful for the accomplishments that have happened since I've been on the board. There's just a few that are really important to me. Right there, that whole child, that was us. That was our old board, and that is one of the most important things to me, the whole child. When we brought back all the extracurricular activities, I heard everybody's voice when you came to the meetings. I saw the faces of the students. We have to educate the whole child. It's just not all about math and reading. We have to take care of them in all aspects. And so you know how I feel about sports and other extracurricular activities. I feel if a child feels success in something, that success can flow over to everything else for them. Once you feel like you can do something, you can do it. You can accomplish so many things, as you all know. Signature schools, when I met with Mark the first time, that was one of my biggest things that I told him. I said, we need to look outside the box and figure out what to do with schools and have specialty schools, because we need to compete with the charter schools. And I am so happy that we have specialty schools in Alhambra. The gyms, that was a huge thing. The field, oh my gosh, the field at the Sevillas, and then our new field that we're going to get. All right, now the rest is for the board. Board, you need to listen. If you humble yourselves and listen, you will gain so much knowledge. It's not easy, but to set aside your ideas, beliefs, and truly listen, you learn. School boards are not about power, not about getting what you want or pushing your agenda. There's only one reason, one agenda, children. There are 5 individuals that bring something to the table. Use your talents to support our students and staff, not to benefit you, but to do what the voters want you to do. It's really difficult to do the right thing sometimes and to vote against the majority, but, oh, sorry, I lost my spot. Sorry. But that's what you're supposed to do. You know, we need to vote as the representatives of the districts, because that's what we are. You have a fiscal responsibility to the students, staff, voters, parents. The whole child, it's always been about the whole child. It'll always be about the whole child. You can take that away and it'll still be about the whole child. Please put aside those personal feelings. Focus on the best interest of the district. Please keep politics off the board. This is not where they belong. I am worried about the diversity of the board. As I said, I'm worried that there isn't any educators on here anymore. I would encourage you all, please tell your staff, everybody, where you live, run for the board. You are educators. You appreciated me being on this board because I was an educator. Those staff members would appreciate you also. So seriously, consider where you live running for a school board. And attendance. Board, I hope some of us improve our attendance. I know it's sometimes hard, things come up, but I knew when I first started that every Thursday I had to block out. So I missed 3 in my 8 years, and it really bothered me. But my first one was when my mom passed away. Second one was when I had my surgery, and then the one was everybody's fault here because I made my vacation plans around the board meetings, and guess what they did? They changed the board meeting. So I was really upset about that. Dana was like, who cares, whatever. We have a quorum, what difference does it make? I also, as I've said multiple times, Dana is our 6th board member. We couldn't do this without her, and we know it. Please remember to respect her, and part of the respect of her is to answer her emails. I know when I was a president, I had issues with board members responding to her. She is a busy woman, just like all of us. Give her the respect and please respond to her emails when she calls you or emails you in a timely manner, because some things need to be decided soon. And I think that's it. I love you. You are always in my heart. I will always be here for you. Don't you dare forget that. And again, I'm not going anywhere. And I wish you the happiest of holiday. Do something fun. Take time for your family and your friends and get some rest, because you already know what January brings. It is. It's all downhill. Thank you. Oh, out loud, sit down, people. Sit down. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to I2, Governing Board Direction and/or Agenda Item Requests.
Yes, my last one. I'm concerned about the amount of money that is getting spent on board travel. I think there's a policy. I'm not sure how old the policy is, but I remember when I first started, I could do 2 out of state per fiscal year, I think. So, but prices have increased, and if we all spent the same amount of money that one board member spent, we would be spending $25,000 on travel. That's ridiculous. That's a lot of money. And just because somebody doesn't go somewhere doesn't mean that somebody else should be able to use the money that they didn't use. This is taxpayer money that we're using. So I would like to make sure that we look into this and that we have a policy and we have maybe limits of the prices that we're allowed to incur. And I'm also want to remind the board that when you sign up and Dana pays for the deposit, if you cancel, you don't get the money back. And again, that's taxpayer money. I don't care if it's $100. I would love to have an extra $100 just on my paycheck one day. So I'm sure a lot of other people would too. So $100 is $100, and we can't afford to lose money. We're not making money. So I would appreciate if we could get some type of updated policy on that to control expenditures. Thank you. Oh, last one, sorry. I said this last year too. I go to school right now and it's dark. I mean, like, we have lights, but no, for some reason they're not on. I hope that all sites are lit up. It's dark until after 7. Every time I go to work, I worry about our kids. As you know, I drive by the bus stops, and I just can't imagine having our children out on corners where it's so dark, waiting for a bus. So I just hope that all sites are nice and lit for everybody. Now I'm done.
I would like to request an update on a policy that we passed about a month and a half ago about parental involvement in library materials. I believe there is a project that's in place right now, and I've heard some good things, and I think it's a great project. If we can get updates on that and implementation time and parental involvement, things like that, I would appreciate it.
Any other requests? All right, hearing none, we will go to I3, comments from the superintendent and executive team.
Good evening, everyone. If we will begin this evening's comments with Ms. Gonzalez.
Thank you. Good evening, President Conchas, governing board members, and Superintendent Dr. Mayes. I'd like to provide an update on our transition with our Westwood and CLA project. So at the end of the year, this school year, Westwood's 5th grade will transition to Choice Learning Academy, making Westwood a pre-K through 4th grade campus, and then Choice Learning Academy a 5th through 8th grade campus. The principals of both schools, Ms. Stevenson and Mr. Ruiz, have been working very closely together as one community to ensure that they're creating a seamless transition for students, for families, and for the staff. They've been very thoughtful to be very inclusive in their school events like the Fall Festival, Spring Flings, or holiday events. 4th and 5th graders at Westwood are very eager to understand the CLA academies and what's in store for them, what they can be a part of. And CLA students plan to visit Westwood students to show them what those academies can be like and do some very light projects. The plan for this is to happen now throughout the spring. Parents have been very supportive as well. They've had opportunities to meet with both principals, to ask questions, to share any concerns that they have. And the leaders have tried to be very consistent in their communication with the staff, the students, and the families. Just being available to answer questions and help paint the picture of what it will look like. As for the logistics side of the transition, there are approximately 134 students that will be new to this transition, moving to CLA. 5 teaching positions will be moving from the Westwood campus to the CLA campus, and 1 special area position. As I mentioned before, the leaders have been in close communication with the teachers and with human resources to ensure everybody's informed, it's very transparent, and that staff understands what opportunities they have, so they feel like they are going to be in the best fit for them. So lots of thought going into this. I'm very proud of everyone involved because they're trying to be very thoughtful of everyone who is impacted while also creating a sense of excitement for what our students will be able to engage in through the transition. Another update I have is just the joy and the holiday festivities that I'm seeing across the district. Campuses are bright and shiny and sparkly like our boardroom is tonight. There's lots of sweet creative writing and projects and art happening across the schools. They're very warm and inviting and very positive, which is so important, especially at this time of year when we know for as much joy and hope and love that we are sharing with each other, times can also be hard for staff members and for families. So a shout out to everyone who is giving to each other, whether if it's our staff members helping each other out, staff members helping students out, or even teaching our students the value of taking care of each other and being generous. I know our Family Resource Center has been incredible, providing food boxes and resources to people in need. So just a huge appreciation and acknowledgement of all that's going on around our district. And then a huge shout out to all of our staff members who are covering classes. You've heard of the illnesses and you've experienced them. And boy, in any school you go into, people are ready to support in whatever extra duty or whatever class coverage. So just thank you for everyone to make sure everyone is taken care of. And Miss O'Neill, France, Kathleen, just a thank you, a deep appreciation. 8 years, well, that was a long time. And they were a full 8 years.
I was young.
So I hope this opportunity of change brings you rest and joy, and I know you will stay involved, but thank you for the very positive, warm and friendly influence you've had on me personally and for our district as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Ms. Bilyeu?
Thank you, President Conchas, members of the board, and Dr. Maez. Tonight, my update is packed with numbers that we're very proud of because it's another example of how Alhambra wraps around Alhambra. Our immunization clinic has administered 236 vaccines since November 8th. I'm also happy to share that today's holiday meal served 7,830 students, 1,239 adults, and 21 non-Alhambra siblings, for a total of 9,090 meals. As an aside, the homemade lasagna was a big hit, and the Westwood team shared that they have never seen so many kids finish the entire meal, many children asking for lasagna to be served again. Shout out to the Granada West team for serving 511 parents on top of the 780 students. This was the largest parent turnout in the district. This afternoon, Gabriel, Melissa, and I were also at GAP and had the pleasure of touring Alhambra's 10th Verizon Lab. GAP celebrated their new Verizon Innovative Learning Lab with the grand opening today, and we were super impressed with our student tour guides and their understanding of the new technology. SB 1630 authorizes a school district to use an 11 to 15 passenger motor vehicle, what we in Alhambra previously called our white fleet or activity bus, to transport students to and from school. I share that with you because, you know, the whole state has SB 1630, and Alhambra was first district in the state to install the traffic controls on our vehicle in accordance with SB 1630, and the first district to have a 925 school bus certificate issued to Lydia Gonzalez. Additionally, Adriana Avila Nava, Dennis Harmon, Erica Castro, they have all obtained their school bus driver certificates and are trainers. Diana Rodriguez, Kimberly Gaines, and Wanda Briss have been working diligently, dedicating over 20 hours in training to support these drivers in this change. So, way to go, Alhambra, because we continue to lead the way. With winter break approaching, 17 days without one of our yummy cafeteria meals may feel like a long, long time. So in piggybacking off of what Ms. Gonzalez shared, we're happy to share that the FRC will be delivering food boxes to the schools on Tuesday instead of our normal Thursday to make sure that every food box gets into the hand of every family who needs one. And in closing, the past 8 years under the direction of our board member, Ms. O'Neill France, has truly been an honor. One of my fondest memories with you is truly learning alongside you at conferences and eating our way through the vendor exhibit. We definitely knew how to get ourselves a free lunch. And in the process, got a few new ideas and brought them back to the district. But truly, in all seriousness, your passion, your love, your dedication to all that is Alhambra, it's something to be super proud of and has really meant a lot to me. You will be very missed.
Thank you, Mrs. Bilyeu. And my updates will focus on Ms. O'Neill France. So Ms. O'Neill France took the oath of office as governing board member in the Alhambra Elementary School District 8 years ago. Within her term, she served as board president for 2 consecutive years, 2020 and 2021. During her tenure and under her guidance and support, Alhambra has accomplished so much. Kathleen had the opportunity to be a part of the hiring of 2 superintendents. We got to hear from Mr. Islas earlier, who served July 2015 to June 2020. And then, of course, I am so appreciative and humbled by the fact that you led the process that selected me as your current superintendent. And I was hired this past year, July 2020, so thank you. Under your leadership, Alhambra was challenged to expand opportunities for our students as we strive to support the whole child. I appreciated hearing from Ms. Stengel earlier, and I know you referenced it too, that we'll think of you every time we see that educating the whole child. It will continue to be a priority, and you led the way to the creation of extracurricular activities in the program. Additional choice school options, which you mentioned, GAP, Valencia, and then we have our Girls Innovation Academy at CLA. The development of and creation and finalization of the state-of-the-art athletic field. You referenced at Sevilla West, so we'll think of you and your leadership there. The groundbreaking of the new field at James W. Rice. We've expanded preschool and the creation of Alhambra Preschool Academy under your leadership. Expanded enhanced neighborhood schools. I know you'll get the pleasure of passing by CLA and the bright, beautiful colors there, led by your favorite Ruiz, and CLA and Sevilla West. And adding 9 gymnasiums, so Madrid, Barcelona, CGP, Sevilla West, Catalina, Granada East, James W. Rice, ATS, and soon GAP and Valencia as well. So thank you for that. I know our kids are super proud in our community as well. Under your leadership, we've secured and maximized resources to support our students. In 2017, Kathleen, you, along with your fellow board members, were able to celebrate the successful passing of a budget override in November of 2017. On February 1st, 2018, the Alhambra School Board dedicated the Alhambra Education, or the AESD Family Resource Center. Approved innovation and leadership opportunities for students through the VILS Labs, through AVID, and you supported the district restructuring. I know that was a really challenging process, which involved Alhambra repurposing, moving, improving various sites. Simpson School evolved into Choice Learning Academy. Montebello School was closed, and the location became the new home of the Alhambra Traditional School. The former location of ATS became the Madrid Neighborhood School, and Andalusia Middle School students were moved to James W. Rice School, and Andalusia became the home of Alhambra Preschool Academy. Most recently, Ms. O'Neill France also helped lead the district and passed one of our greatest challenges, navigating the Alhambra Elementary School District through 2 years of the pandemic. This list is only a snapshot of the impact Ms. O'Neill France has made in Alhambra. You're a champion in our district, and the students and our staff are at the center of every decision, every accomplishment, and for that we will always be grateful. And again, I spoke earlier to the fact that you led the process. You were board president in hiring me, and I'm just forever grateful to be a part of the Alhambra family. I remember my first year as we worked closely together when you were board president, and several other superintendents would check in on me, and people would ask, are you okay? And just they made it seem so scary, like I should be so tired and so overwhelmed. And the fact is I really felt good about the work that we were doing, and really felt supported and encouraged, and really felt like I was able to do my job, which was lead our community, really focused on children. And I thank you for that. You made that happen. And so I appreciate the time getting to know you. And so as I thought about the words that I would use to just express my gratitude this evening, I thought what better to do that than through a poem that I found that reminded me of you. I think about, before I read it, I just think about our number of conversations as we heard this evening. Just Kathleen loves kids, and we all know, and I love kids. We all love kids. That's why we do this work. And so in speaking to you about your experiences as a teacher and just your passion as an educator, and you bringing that here on the board, I found a poem titled Educator, and the author is unknown. So again, Educator. And this is you. Although I'm not their mother, I care for them each day. I cuddle, sing, and read to them, and watch them as they play. I see each new accomplishment and help them grow and learn. I understand their language, and I listen with concern. They come to me for comfort, and I kiss away their tears. They proudly show their work to me, and I give the loudest cheers. No, I am not their mother, but my role is just as strong. I nurture them and keep them safe, though maybe not for long. I know someday the time may come when we will have to part, but I know each child I've cared for is forever in my heart. Thank you, Kathleen.
That was beautiful. I just have to say that there's a few there's a few of my lovely little friends that do call me mommy. So I tell them I am your mommy away from home, but that was a beautiful poem. Thank you, and thank you to everybody for all your kind words. I'm excited for my next adventure. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but I'm like 95% sure what it is. So, and I wasn't going to be able to do it if I was still on the board, so I'm excited to be able to do that. And I have every Thursday open now, so I'm like, woohoo, what am I going to do? No, I'm just kidding. I'm probably still going to keep them for you guys. But no, seriously, thank you for all your kind words. I truly appreciate all of you. You are so kind, such sweet, wonderful words that each of you said. I don't know who that person is, but gosh, she must be okay. And I want to say, Dr. Myers, that I truly appreciated getting to know you. You are one hard worker. You had personal things come up as soon as you got here, and nobody would have even known there wasn't even a little hiccup. So I thank you, and I want to say that because you mentioned, you know, the whole hiring process and everything. And I talked about it at the time, but there's so much pressure. I mean, you just feel the 13,000 kids sitting on your shoulders when you're trying to figure out who is the best person for this position. And you are one of my proudest accomplishments. It wasn't just me, obviously, but you are truly one of my proudest. So I appreciate everything you do for our kids, and I know you have such a beautiful heart, and continue to let that heart lead you. Oh, one other thing, I'm so sorry. I know, I like to talk. Grant, I'm so sorry I didn't thank you. Thank you, Grant, for walking with me. Thank you, Grant, for putting up with me. Thank you, Grant, for wondering where I was when the meetings may have went longer than they really did. But read between the lines there. And thank you. I appreciate you, Grant.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was asking Gabriel, we have a beautiful plaque for Kathleen. And so we'd like to present you with this.
That's so sweet. Get over here. Oh, wait, hold on. It won't look normal. Right here. They're always up here. Go look back at all the pictures.
So many emotions right now. Thank you, Superintendent Myers. Thank you to the executive team. Thank you, Ms. O'Neill France. Going to J, meeting closing. J1, the next governing board meeting is scheduled for January 12th, 2023. And J2, calendar of events. December 22nd will be the end of the second quarter. December 23rd through January 6th will be a winter recess. January 9th will be the beginning of the third quarter. January 16th is the MLK holiday. January 19th through the 20th is parent-teacher conferences. And January 27th is the AESD spelling bee at 9:30 a.m. in the boardroom. February 2nd is Cordova Family Math Night from 4:30 to 6 p.m. Without any further...
Hold on, I forgot one other thing. I didn't cry. Yay. Okay, you tried really hard, but I didn't. So, yay. I'm just saying, I didn't cry. Dana had it here, and I didn't. I said, nope, nope, nope. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you so much.
You're going to miss my humor. Okay, go ahead.
I really am. J3, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Solorio. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.